Right now, the United States is hovering around 2% growth. Germany and France are barely touching 1%. Japan is slipping into negative territory, and China is actively grappling with the fallout of a prolonged trade war. The developed world is stalling. This chart shows projected GDP growth. While the world slows, India sprints past 6.5%. By 2030, its GDP is projected to reach $6 trillion. In 4 years, it will add $2 trillion, equivalent to adding Italy's entire economy. Institutional capital is already pricing this in. Goldman Sachs is forecasting above consensus growth, and global manufacturing giants like Apple and Samsung are physically moving their operations there right now, breaking ground on new facilities before the mainstream catches on. This momentum is the result of 3 distinct forces colliding at the exact right moment. Behind it all is a financial technology revolution, allowing India to bypass traditional banking stages entirely. In economics, leapfrogging occurs when a nation bypasses older technology to adopt the modern standard. India did exactly this. They skipped the slow, decades-long rollout of physical banking networks and jumped straight from a fragmented cash society to a fully digital financial infrastructure. This split-screen visualization compares the tangled routing of Western credit cards to India's unified payments interface. The efficiency difference translates to staggering volume. Today, UPI processes more monthly digital transactions than Visa and MasterCard combined in the United States. In 2023, India's digital payments market was valued at $3.3 trillion. By 2026, this chart projects it will hit $10 trillion, a 3-fold expansion in just 3 years. This system has penetrated every level of the economy. Micro vendors and street stalls now operate entirely without cash, accepting payments through simple QR codes and a smartphone. A decade ago, hundreds of millions here were unbanked. By providing a digital identity and a frictionless way to move money, India has folded a massive informal economy into a single high-speed market. That digital market is populated by an asset that no developed country can buy. While China ages rapidly and nations like Japan face impending pension crises, India has hundreds of millions of young, English-speaking workers entering the economy every year. Plugging this specific demographic into the UPI network transforms a massive labor pool into an active, hyper-accessible consumer base. This integration is driving a rapid expansion in domestic e-commerce, digital lending, and wealth management across the country. A young, technologically integrated population provides the fuel required to run a growth engine for decades. For foreign capital looking for long-term returns, that demographic profile is the primary draw. This capital was already looking for an alternative. Recent trade frictions and pandemic supply chain failures disrupted global manufacturing, forcing corporations to acknowledge the risk of concentrating their production inside one country. Global electronics giants like Apple and Samsung are currently utilizing government incentive schemes to rapidly shift their production from China to India. Apple now manufactures a significant portion of its flagship devices here, with dozens of other global brands following that same playbook. This extends to the most strategically important industry of the 21st century, semiconductors. India's Semicon program has attracted $17 billion in investment commitments, with the industrial giant Tata currently building the country's first major fabrication plants. This migration includes high-level corporate services as well. Every year, more Fortune 500 companies establish operations in India, not just for back-office work, but for engineering, AI research, and data science. To physically power this transition, the country is investing over $360 billion in renewable energy and grid expansion, creating a clean energy infrastructure capable of supporting this massive industrial influx. India is successfully absorbing the world's supply chains because it built a digital and demographic landing pad at the exact moment the world needed an alternative to China. But this trajectory carries severe risks. India's biggest economic vulnerability is its reliance on foreign energy. The country imports over 85% of its oil, leaving its economy exposed every time a conflict flares up in the Middle East. This energy deficit forces India to walk a delicate geopolitical tightrope. To keep its economic engine running, it maintains strong ties with the US while simultaneously purchasing millions of barrels of heavily discounted Russian oil. Domestically, a jobs gap remains. Growth is currently driven by tech and manufacturing, but the vast majority of the population still relies on agriculture. If this new wealth does not elevate the rural majority, broad domestic consumption will hit a ceiling, and the country's growth engine will slow. Zooming out, we are watching a massive historical cycle play out in real time. For 2 centuries, global wealth was concentrated in Europe and America. For the last 30 years, China absorbed a historic share of that capital. Now, the capital is moving again. The official target is to transform into a fully developed nation by 2047, exactly 100 years since the country gained its independence. The shift of global capital, supply chains, and technology is already an undeniable reality. For those watching from the outside, the only remaining choice is to adapt or stay on the sidelines.